Imagine a moment so shocking, it rewrote the history of two empires. In 260 CE, Shapur I, the fierce king of Persia's Sasanian Empire, did the unthinkable. He captured a Roman Emperor Valerian in a humiliating defeat that shook the ancient world. This wasn't just a battle, it was a clash of titans, a turning point that proved the East could triumph over the West. Welcome to an epic journey through one of history's most dramatic showdowns. In the 3rd century, the Roman Empire was crumbling under invasions and internal chaos, while the Sasanian Empire, under Shapur I, rose as a formidable rival, hungry to reclaim Persian glory. Their rivalry set the stage for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. Today, we're diving deep into this incredible story: Shapur I's rise, his military genius, the fateful Battle of Edessa, and the lasting impact of Valerian's capture. Why does this matter? Because this wasn't just a victory. It was a bold statement of Persian power, immortalized in rock reliefs and legends. Over the next 7 chapters, we'll explore Shapur's early life, the chaos in Rome, the clash that brought an emperor to his knees, and the cultural legacy that still fascinates historians today. From strategy to symbolism, we've got it all covered. But we need your help to keep telling these incredible stories. If you love diving into the past, hit that subscribe button right now and join our community of history buffs. Don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. And please, like this video and drop a comment below. Tell us what you think about Shapur I's triumph, or what ancient story you want us to cover next. Your support fuels more epic content like this. So, buckle up as we journey back to 260 CE, where a Persian king humbled an empire. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Rise of Shapur I and the Sasanian Empire. A prince born to lead. In the ancient heartland of Persia, around 215 CE, a child named Shapur was born, destined to become one of history's most formidable kings. As the son of Ardashir I, the revolutionary founder of the Sasanian Empire, Shapur I carried the weight of a grand legacy. His upbringing was a crucible of ambition, steeped in the traditions of Persia's storied past. From boyhood, Shapur was schooled in the arts of war, wielding the bow, mastering the lance, and riding with the skill of a cavalryman. Equally, he was trained in the intricacies of governance, learning to navigate the complex web of Persian politics. Under his father's tutelage, Shapur absorbed the ideals of the Achaemenid kings, preparing to lead an empire poised to rival the greatest powers of the age. The birth of a new Persia. In 224 CE, the Sasanian Empire rose with a thunderous roar, sweeping away the Parthian Empire that had ruled Persia for nearly 5 centuries. Ardashir I, Shapur's father, was the architect of this seismic shift, defeating the Parthian king Artabanus IV in a series of brutal campaigns. His vision was audacious: to resurrect the glory of the Achaemenid Empire, which had once stretched from the Indus to the Mediterranean. The Sasanians were not content to merely govern. They sought to redefine Persia as a cultural and military powerhouse. Ardashir centralized authority, strengthened fortifications, and elevated Zoroastrianism as a unifying spiritual force, laying a robust foundation for his son to inherit and expand. Shapur's ascent to power. By 240 CE, Shapur I stepped into the spotlight, crowned as co-ruler alongside his father in a calculated move to ensure dynastic stability. For 2 years, the young prince governed beside Ardashir, blending youthful vigor with his father's seasoned wisdom. Their partnership fortified the empire, from securing trade routes to quelling regional unrest. When Ardashir died in 242 CE, Shapur, now in his late 20s, assumed sole control. His early reign was a testament to his resolve. He swiftly crushed dissent among the nobility, reinforced alliances with regional governors, and fortified Persia's frontiers. Shapur's steady hand and sharp intellect marked him as a ruler, ready to lead his empire into a bold new era. Forging a stronger empire. Shapur's ambition extended beyond maintaining power. He sought to transform the Sasanian Empire into an unstoppable force. He deepened the empire's devotion to Zoroastrianism, empowering its priests to foster cultural unity across diverse territories. His administration overhauled governance, streamlining taxation and infrastructure to fuel his grand designs. Militarily, Shapur revolutionized the Sasanian army, prioritizing elite cavalry units, cataphracts, and mounted archers, whose speed and precision would prove devastating on the battlefield. These reforms turned the empire into a disciplined, dynamic machine, ready to project power far beyond its borders. A vision to challenge Rome. At the core of Shapur's reign burned a relentless ambition to confront the Roman Empire, the colossus that dominated the West. He saw himself as the heir to Persia's ancient kings, tasked with restoring their supremacy and humbling Rome's arrogance. His sweeping reforms and military buildup were not just for defense, they were the foundation for a daring challenge. With his gaze fixed on Roman provinces like Syria and Mesopotamia, Shapur set the stage for an epic confrontation with Emperor Valerian, a clash that would etch his name into the annals of history. Chapter 2. The Roman Empire in Crisis. A colossal empire crumbles. In the 3rd century CE, the Roman Empire, once an unassailable titan, staggered under the weight of a perfect storm known as the crisis of the 3rd century. Economic collapse gripped the realm. Runaway inflation eroded the value of coinage. Trade routes withered under banditry, and crushing taxes bled the provinces dry. Within, the empire fractured as ambitious generals and governors declared themselves emperors, sparking civil wars that tore at Rome's heart. Without, relentless external threats battered its borders. Germanic tribes, Goths, Alemanni, and Franks, surged across the Rhine and Danube, while in the east, the rising Sasanian Empire, led by the audacious Shapur I, plundered Roman cities with impunity. Rome stood on the brink, its glory fading in a haze of chaos. Valerian's burdened crown. Into this maelstrom stepped Publius Licinius Valerianus, known as Valerian, who claimed the imperial throne in 253 CE. A grizzled senator and military commander in his 60s, Valerian was no novice, yet the empire he inherited was a shadow of its former self. His reign began with a singular mission: to restore stability to a crumbling Rome. Valerian faced a dual challenge: repelling Germanic invaders in the north and west, and countering the growing Sasanian threat in the east. With steely resolve, he rallied his forces, determined to shore up Rome's defenses and reclaim its battered prestige, even as the empire's foundations trembled beneath him. A military stretched thin. Rome's legions, once the scourge of the ancient world, were stretched to breaking. Spread across vast frontiers, from Britain to Mesopotamia, the army struggled to recruit enough soldiers to replace those lost to battle or desertion. Logistical nightmares plagued every campaign. Supply lines faltered, grain shipments dwindled, and unpaid troops grew mutinous. Defending the eastern provinces, Syria, Mesopotamia, and Cappadocia, was particularly daunting. These rich lands, vital for trade and agriculture, were vulnerable to Sasanian raids. Rome's heavy infantry, designed for pitched battles, floundered against Persia's swift cavalry, leaving the eastern frontier exposed to Shapur's relentless incursions. Valerian's Eastern Gambit. By 259 CE, Shapur I's invasions had grown intolerable. His forces had ravaged Roman territories, sacking cities like Antioch and threatening the empire's eastern lifeline. Valerian, unwilling to let Persia's provocations go unanswered, made a fateful decision. He assembled a colossal army, some 70,000 men, drawn from legions and auxiliaries across the east, and marched to confront Shapur in Mesopotamia. Leading the campaign himself, Valerian aimed to crush the Sasanian threat and restore Rome's dominance. Yet, this bold move was a gamble, tethering the empire's hopes to an aging emperor and an overstretched army. Rome's fragile defenses. The crisis of the 3rd century had left Rome perilously vulnerable, its weaknesses laid bare for a strategist like Shapur I to exploit. Economic ruin, internal strife, and an exhausted military created a chink in Rome's armor that the Sasanian king saw clearly. Shapur's tactical brilliance, his mastery of cavalry and terrain, poised him to turn Rome's desperation into disaster. As Valerian marched east, he unknowingly walked into a trap set by a Persian ruler whose ambition matched his own, setting the stage for a confrontation that would shake the ancient world. Chapter 3. The Prelude to the Battle of Edessa. a rivalry carved in blood. For centuries, the Roman and Persian empires clashed in a relentless struggle for dominance, their borders stained with the blood of countless wars. By the 3rd century CE, the Sasanian Empire, newly risen under Ardashir I, Shapur's father, had reignited this ancient feud with ferocious intensity. In the 230, Ardashir's armies swept into Roman Mesopotamia, seizing cities and challenging Emperor Severus Alexander in brutal campaigns. When Shapur I ascended the throne, he escalated this rivalry, launching daring raids into Roman Syria and Cappadocia. His sack of Antioch, a glittering hub of Roman wealth, sent shockwaves through the empire. These were not mere skirmishes, but a bold challenge to Rome's supremacy, setting a fiery prelude to an epic showdown. Shapur's tactical brilliance. Shapur I was a commander of unparalleled cunning, wielding the Sasanian army like a master swordsman. His strategy centered on speed and deception, exploiting the mobility of Persia's elite cavalry. Clad in heavy armor, his cataphracts delivered crushing charges, while swift-mounted archers rained arrows on their foes. Shapur's intimate knowledge of Mesopotamia's deserts and plains allowed him to outmaneuver the lumbering Roman legions. He employed feigned retreats to lure enemies into traps, turning the terrain into a weapon. This tactical genius made Shapur's forces a nightmare for Rome, poised to exploit any misstep in the unforgiving eastern frontier. Rome's massive response. By 259 CE, Shapur's relentless incursions had pushed Rome to the breaking point. Emperor Valerian, determined to restore the empire's battered honor, took decisive action. He marshaled a colossal army, estimated at 70,000 men, drawing legions, archers, and auxiliaries from across the eastern provinces. This force, a testament to Rome's resolve, included battle-hardened veterans and fresh recruits, united under Valerian's personal command. Marching toward Mesopotamia, the emperor aimed to crush Shapur's ambitions and reclaim lost territories. Yet, this massive mobilization strained Rome's already fragile resources, a gamble that placed the empire's fate in the hands of an aging ruler facing a formidable foe. The prize of Mesopotamia and Syria. The conflict's stakes were monumental. Mesopotamia and Syria were the lifeblood of Rome's eastern empire, their fertile lands and bustling cities like Antioch and Edessa fueling trade and prosperity. Control of these regions meant mastery over vital routes linking east and west, from silk caravans to Mediterranean ports. For Shapur, seizing these territories would not only enrich the Sasanian Empire but also cripple Rome's eastern defenses. Both empires understood that dominance in this contested heartland would tip the balance of power, making every battle a fight for supremacy. A collision of titans. As 260 CE dawned, the stage was set for a monumental clash near the city of Edessa. Shapur's cunning and Valerian's determination converged in a moment that would define the Roman-Sasanian Wars. This was no ordinary battle. It was a crucible where empires would be tested, and the outcome would reshape the ancient world. The Battle of Edessa loomed as a decisive turning point, where the ambitions of two great powers would collide with earth-shaking consequences. Chapter 4. The Battle of Edessa and Valerian's capture. A fateful clash in the desert. In the spring of 260 CE, the plains near Edessa in Mesopotamia became the stage for a cataclysmic confrontation between two empires. Shapur I, the Sasanian king, led his battle-hardened forces against Emperor Valerian's massive Roman army, estimated at 70,000 strong. Though outnumbered, Shapur wielded a lethal advantage, his unmatched strategic prowess. Employing feigned retreats, his swift cavalry lured the Romans into open terrain, where they were vulnerable. Then, with devastating precision, Shapur's cataphracts, armored horsemen, and mounted archers executed a masterful encirclement, trapping the legions in a deadly vice. The Battle of Edessa unfolded as a brutal demonstration of Sasanian ingenuity, leaving Rome's forces reeling under the weight of Persia's might. The collapse of Rome's legions. Valerian's army, burdened by its size and crippled by logistical strains, stood little chance against Shapur's onslaught. The Roman legions, trained for disciplined formations, were outmaneuvered by the Sasanians' lightning-fast cavalry. Arrows rained from the sky, sowing chaos, while heavy charges shattered Roman ranks. Thousands of soldiers fell, their blood soaking the Mesopotamian dust, while countless others were seized as prisoners, their weapons and standards claimed as Sasanian trophies. Valerian, leading from the front, watched helplessly as his grand campaign crumbled, his dreams of restoring Roman glory reduced to a nightmare of defeat. An emperor in chains. In a moment that stunned the ancient world, Emperor Valerian himself was captured, an event unprecedented in Rome's storied history. The circumstances remain shrouded in mystery. Some accounts suggest Valerian, desperate to salvage his campaign, sought negotiations with Shapur, only to be betrayed and seized in a cunning trap. Others claim he was taken amidst the battle's chaos, overwhelmed by Sasanian forces. Regardless of how it happened, the image of a Roman emperor bound in chains before a Persian king was a staggering blow, a symbol of Rome's vulnerability and Persia's ascendance that would haunt the empire for generations. Echoes of victory and defeat. Historical records capture the magnitude of this event from both sides. Shapur's Res Gestae Divi Saporis, carved into the cliffs at Naqsh-e Rostam, triumphantly declares his victory, boasting of Valerian's capture alongside thousands of Roman soldiers. Roman sources, steeped in shame, offer contrasting perspectives. The Christian writer Lactantius describes Valerian's humiliation, claiming he was forced to serve as Shapur's footstool, while historian Zosimus blames Roman arrogance for the disaster. Though biased, these accounts, Persian inscriptions and Roman laments, reveal the seismic impact of Edessa, a victory celebrated in Persia and mourned in Rome, a humiliation unmatched. The capture of a Roman emperor by a foreign ruler was a rarity that shook the foundations of the empire. Valerian's defeat at Edessa was not merely a military loss, but a profound humiliation, exposing Rome's fragility to its enemies and its own people. The image of an emperor kneeling before Shapur became a potent symbol of Sasanian dominance, etched into the annals of history. This moment, unprecedented in its audacity, elevated Shapur I to legendary status and marked a turning point in the struggle between East and West. Chapter 5. The Fate of Valerian. A captive emperor's ordeal. The capture of Roman Emperor Valerian by Shapur, the first in 260 CE at the Battle of Edessa, was a seismic event, but the story of his captivity is steeped in conflicting narratives. Persian accounts, crafted to glorify Shapur, portray Valerian as a humble trophy, stripped of imperial dignity and forced to kneel before the Sasanian king. These sources paint a picture of submission, emphasizing Persia's dominance. Roman chroniclers, however, tell a grimmer tale. The Christian writer Lactantius claims Valerian endured brutal humiliation, allegedly serving as a human footstool for Shapur to mount his horse, his spirit broken by torture. While these accounts may be tinged with bias, Persian pride, or Roman shame, they underscore the profound impact of Valerian's fall, a spectacle that reverberated across empires. Shapur's propaganda masterpiece. Shapur I seized Valerian's capture as a golden opportunity to cement his divine aura. Across the Sasanian Empire, he commissioned towering rock reliefs at Naqsh-e Rostam and Bishapur, vividly depicting Valerian kneeling or standing in chains before a triumphant Shapur mounted on horseback. The Res Gestae Divi Saporis, an inscription carved into the cliffs, boasts of capturing Valerian the Caesar, alongside thousands of Roman soldiers. These monuments were not mere art, but calculated propaganda, designed to awe subjects and intimidate rivals. By immortalizing Valerian's defeat in stone, Shapur crafted an enduring image of himself as a godlike ruler, ordained to humble the might of Rome. The mystery of Valerian's end. Valerian's fate after his capture remains cloaked in uncertainty. Between 260 and 264 CE, the emperor died in Sasanian custody, but the cause is a matter of speculation. Some sources suggest natural causes, perhaps illness or exhaustion, as Valerian was likely in his 60s, worn down by the rigors of captivity. Others hint at darker possibilities, execution or deliberate neglect, ordered by Shapur to cement his victory. Persian records, focused on triumph rather than details, offer no clarity, while Roman accounts, clouded by grief and shame, remain vague. The mystery of Valerian's death only deepened the sting of his defeat, leaving a void in Rome's historical memory. Rome's shock and succession. The news of Valerian's capture struck Rome like a thunderbolt, shattering the myth of imperial invincibility. An emperor in chains was unthinkable, a blow that shook the empire to its core during the already turbulent crisis of the 3rd century. The Roman Senate and populace reeled, grappling with the disgrace as revolts and invasions intensified. Valerian's son, Gallienus, inherited the throne under dire circumstances, facing usurpers, barbarian raids, and a fractured empire. His reign, marked by relentless pressure, struggled to restore stability, as the loss of his father cast a long shadow over Rome's faltering eastern defenses. A devastating blow to Rome. Valerian's capture and death were more than a military defeat. They were a psychological and political catastrophe. The image of a Roman emperor humbled by a Persian king eroded Rome's aura of supremacy, emboldening its enemies and disheartening its people. This unprecedented humiliation exposed the empire's vulnerabilities, marking a low point in its history. Shapur's victory became a legend, a moment that not only elevated his own stature, but also reshaped the perception of Rome's power, leaving an indelible mark on the ancient world. Chapter 6. Shapur I's Legacy and the Sasanian Triumph. A tide of conquest. Following his stunning triumph at Edessa in 260 CE, Shapur I, the indomitable Sasanian king, unleashed a torrent of invasions into Roman territories, capitalizing on Rome's disarray. His army stormed into Syria, sacking Antioch, the glittering metropolis of the Roman East, and plundering its treasures with ruthless precision. Sasanian forces swept through Cappadocia and Cilicia, capturing cities and hauling off prisoners, their banners flying high as symbols of Persian might. Yet, Shapur's ambitions faced the harsh realities of empire: overstretched supply lines, defiant Roman garrisons, and the sheer vastness of the conquered lands forced partial withdrawals. Despite these logistical hurdles, Shapur's campaign struck fear into Rome, proving the Sasanian Empire's power to challenge the West's greatest colossus. A patron of culture. Shapur I was more than a warrior. He was a visionary who wove a rich tapestry of cultural achievements. His reign birthed magnificent rock reliefs at Naqsh-e Rostam and Bishapur, their intricate carvings celebrating his victories with breathtaking artistry. He founded the city of Bishapur, a marvel of Sasanian engineering, where grand palaces and vibrant mosaics blended Persian grandeur with Greco-Roman influences. Shapur's religious tolerance set him apart, most notably in his patronage of Mani, the founder of Manichaeism. By supporting this syncretic faith, which fused elements of Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and Buddhism, Shapur fostered a cultural crossroads, enriching his empire's intellectual and spiritual life. A rival to Rome's might, Shapur's victories reshaped the Sasanian Empire into a formidable rival to Rome, a status it would hold for centuries. His defeat of Emperor Valerian at Edessa showcased Persia's military prowess, forcing Rome to bolster its eastern defenses with fortified cities and cautious diplomacy. Shapur's reorganized army, with its elite cataphracts and mounted archers, became a persistent thorn in Rome's side, capable of striking deep into its territories. His diplomatic acumen shone through in securing truces that favored Persia, ensuring the empire's strength was not just in swords, but in strategy. Shapur's triumphs cemented the Sasanians as Rome's equal, a legacy of power that endured long after his reign. Shaping a Persian identity. Shapur's reign forged a lasting identity for the Sasanian Empire, anchoring it as a cultural and political titan. His patronage of Zoroastrianism unified the empire's diverse peoples under a shared spiritual banner, while his military successes rekindled the pride of Persia's Achaemenid past. Investments in infrastructure, roads, canals, and cities like Bishapur fueled trade and prosperity, linking East and West in a vibrant network. Shapur's vision transformed Persia into a beacon of innovation and influence, its cultural and political clout resonating across the ancient world for generations. A king beyond the battlefield. Shapur I stands as one of Persia's greatest rulers, his legacy transcending the chaos of war. His ability to blend martial brilliance with cultural patronage created an empire that was as sophisticated as it was strong. The capture of Valerian was but one facet of a reign that redefined Persia's place in history, elevating Shapur to a near-mythic status. His vision, molded in stone, faith, and conquest, ensured the Sasanian Empire's enduring mark as a powerhouse of the ancient world. Chapter 7. Historical and Cultural Significance. A new era in Roman-Persian relations. The capture of Roman Emperor Valerian by Shapur I in 260 CE at the Battle of Edessa sent shockwaves through the ancient world, forever altering the dynamics between the Roman and Sasanian empires. Before this humiliation, Rome had often treated Persia as a secondary threat, confident in its imperial might. Valerian's defeat shattered that arrogance, forcing Rome to adopt a more cautious stance in the east. Emperors fortified frontier cities, bolstered garrisons, and leaned heavily on diplomacy to avoid further debacles. The Sasanians, emboldened by Shapur's triumph, pressed their advantage, raiding Roman territories with newfound audacity. This shift marked a turning point, establishing a delicate balance of power, where Persia stood as Rome's equal, a rivalry that would define centuries of conflict. A symbol of Eastern defiance, Valerian's capture transcended the battlefield, becoming a potent symbol of Eastern resilience against Western imperialism. In Persian cultural memory, Shapur's victory was a clarion call, proof that the Sasanian Empire could humble the mighty Rome. The image of a Roman emperor kneeling before a Persian king, etched into the collective psyche, stirred pride in Persia's ability to resist and overcome. This moment echoed the legacy of the Achaemenid kings, reinforcing the Sasanian identity as heirs to a glorious past. For generations, the story of Edessa fueled narratives of strength and sovereignty, cementing Shapur's triumph as a beacon of Eastern power in the face of Western dominance. Lessons for the modern age. Today, the capture of Valerian remains a cornerstone for scholars studying the intricacies of ancient geopolitics, military strategy, and cultural exchange. The event illuminates the fragility of empires, showing how a single defeat could reshape perceptions of power. Shapur's tactics, leveraging mobility and terrain, offer timeless lessons in strategic warfare, while the integration of Roman prisoners into Sasanian society highlights the fluidity of cultural exchange. This clash underscores the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations, where conquest and diplomacy wove a complex tapestry of influence. Historians and enthusiasts alike pore over this moment, seeing in it the seeds of modern concepts of power, resilience, and cultural dialogue. Echoes carved in stone. Archaeological treasures bring Shapur's victory vividly to life. At Naqsh-e Rostam and Bishapur, massive rock reliefs depict Valerian in chains, kneeling or standing before a majestic Shapur astride his horse. These carvings, alongside the Rosgeste Divi Saporis inscription, are masterpieces of Sasanian propaganda, crafted to glorify Shapur as a divine ruler. Preserved through millennia, these artifacts offer a window into the Sasanian worldview, where victory over Rome was a mandate from the gods. Each relief, etched with precision, tells a story of triumph designed to awe subjects and intimidate foes, ensuring Shapur's legacy endured. A pivotal moment in history. Shapur I's victory at Edessa stands as a defining moment in ancient history. Its reverberations felt far beyond the battlefield. It reshaped empires, inspired cultural pride, and left an indelible mark on the ancient world. The capture of Valerian was not just a military feat, but a testament to Persia's unyielding spirit, a legacy captured in stone and story. Shapur's triumph remains a pivotal chapter, a moment when the East asserted its power, forever altering the course of history.